ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to head back to Resident Evil with my least favorite out of the PlayStation trilogy. Welcome to Let's Play Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. Starting off, I'm actually going to say right now, when you press the new game option, you're given two difficulty modes, hard and easy. Hard is more so normal mode. It just makes it so you take more damage and enemies have more HP. Easy mode gives you a weapon to start off with that's really powerful, as well as a lot of stuff in the item box. There's also two Japanese exclusive difficulties, but I'll go over that in a moment. But let's get right on into it.
Resident Evil.
It all began as an ordinary day in September. An ordinary day in Raccoon City. A city controlled by Umbrella. No one dared to oppose them, and that lack of strength would ultimately lead to their destruction. I suppose they had to suffer the consequences of their actions, but there would be no forgiveness. If only they had had the courage to fight. It's true that once the wheels of justice begin to turn, nothing can stop them. Nothing. It was Raccoon City's last chance, and my last chance. My last escape.
This is Chopper Delta, preparing to drop off at area E95070.
What are they?
Farewell to my life. Farewell to my home. This is my last chance for survival. This is my last escape. Well, there goes our apartment, and starting off, we have a very short sequence where you can get used to the controls. Don't waste your ammo on any of the zombies here. In fact, I'm just going to take a hit here so I can get past this guy, because tutorial sequence immediately over, basically.
September 28th, daylight. The monsters have overtaken the city. Somehow, I'm still alive. Okay, we've got to get out of here.
What? What do you think you're talking about? I just lost my daughter out there! How dare you tell me to go back outside?
I'm sorry about your daughter, but there isn't going to be any rescue. We have to get out of here.
No! I'm not going anywhere. I'd rather starve to death in here than be eaten by one of those undead monsters! Now leave me alone! Told you! I'm not leaving! Never! Just get away from me.
Well, that's Dario Rosso, by the way, and we won't be talking to him again. And starting off, we actually have a bit we can do. First off, we want to come over here because there's a handgun clip over here that I want, because more ammo is always good. And nearby, there is also a first aid spray, right there, actually. And there's also 2 files in our inventory to start off, but I'll read those once I'm in the save room. Either I mentioned that there are 2 Japanese exclusive difficulties. There's heavy mode, which is actually about as easy mode is in this game, but you get the benefits from hard mode as well. But you don't get the starting off awesome weapon. Then there's light mode, which is super easy. Enemies have reduced HP and everything, and you have way more powerful weapons to start out with. Either way, welcome to the save room. Our first priority to come over here for is the warehouse key, which actually allows us to leave this area. And there's also 2 red things over here, or there's 3. These are gunpowder A's. We'll be going over what these are for in about a moment. It has to do with the other item in our inventory, I think it's the reloading tool. Game Instructions A is more or less the generic action tutorial. It tells you how to move around and all the stuff. I'll go over only the new stuff. Namely, that there is a quick turn and emergency escape / dodge. As for what these are, the quick turn, you press backwards and the square button, or whatever your action button is depending on your control scheme, you will be able to turn around 180 degrees to escape things more quickly. The action dodge, basically, if you press the action button or the aim button before an enemy attacks you, you'll dodge it. And this is the bullet creation one. I'm going to actually be reading this one a bit more in depth because it's more important. Game Instructions B. Ammunition creation system. To create various ammunitions, you need to use the reloading tool and gunpowder. Reloading tool. This is a necessary item if you want to create different types of ammunition. By combining the gunpowder and reloading tool, various types of ammunition will be created. Gunpowder. Mixed materials to create various types of ammunition. There are 3 types of basic gunpowders, A, B, and C. Please note that gunpowder C is made by mixing A and B. You can create various kinds of bullets by mixing different gunpowders. There are 13 different kinds of gunpowders in all. A makes handgun bullets, B makes shotgun shells, C makes grenade rounds, A and C make grenade flame, B and C make grenade acid, C and C make grenade freeze, and 3 C's make magnum bullets. The more you make, the more you can possibly get out of it. At the start, everything has a set value, though. You can also mix gunpowders with grenade rounds, though I never take advantage of that. So basically, Resident Evil 3 doesn't have as many actual ammo things for you to find. You need to make most of your ammo. And because of this, you're going to be actually kind of looking out for a lot of gunpowders and thinking ahead of what you want to make. Because right now, I'm going to be mixing 2 A's just to get the most ammo out of it. Because I do believe when you mix ammo, you actually do get some extra rounds out of it than you would if you mixed, created ammo from an individual. And for once, I'm actually bringing the knife along. Early on, the knife is very good, only for like the first hour, if even, but it is there. Also, there's increments, as with Resident Evil 1 and 2, you use these to save. Also, notable about this game from a development standpoint, this wasn't originally going to be Resident Evil 3. This was going to be the side story. Code Veronica, which is now the side story, technically, was originally going to be Resident Evil 3. And, well, I'm glad the better game was numbered, because I don't like Code Veronica, but I'll get more into that when I eventually get to that game. Either way, we're done here in this warehouse, so let's leave for now. There was also a new third mechanic in that first instructions manual, but I'm only going to get to that when we actually meet it, like, next part. Now, if you chose easy mode, you would have actually had an assault rifle in your inventory or the item box to start. And that's a pretty good weapon, but it doesn't have much ammo, so you're going to need to choose your fights carefully all the same. Like with Resident Evil 1 and 2, well, more so 1, you're not going to be doing as much fighting this time around. You're going to be running away more often than not. And by the way, I hope you like jump scares. Oh, hi, living guy running. Resident Evil 3 has the most jump scare moments like that out of the entire original trilogy. And the zombies have seen a bit of an improvement. First off, there's a lot more unique models of them, at least there's more variations of the models. And they actually are a bit more intelligent. They will actually have bursts of speed every now and then, as if they'll not run towards you, but their hobble will be roughly twice, doubled to tripled in speed. So watch out for that, because that can catch you off guard, especially early on. Knife is actually pretty potent in Resident Evil 3, but it helps that Jill actually stabs with her knife instead of Chris or Leon or Claire who do the swiping motion. It's a good way to save ammo early on, and trust me, Resident Evil 3, if you play it the way I usually do, can be kind of scarce with ammo. Even with the gunpowder tool. It helps that Resident Evil 3 has a mechanic I'm not going to talk about until we can really see an example of it that can make consistency annoying. We want to come into this room where this guy is for two things. One, there's lighter oil, which we'll need in a bit. And more importantly for the early part of the game, we got a shotgun. I do not use the shotgun much here in 1, though. Also, the map system is a bit more intelligent this time around. They'll actually show you save rooms and such, although I think 2 may have done that first. I forget. 3's engine is basically just a slight improvement over 2's. Green herbs are still a thing. They're the primary healing items this time around. An individual herb does 25% HP. You mix 2, it's 50% roughly. And one thing I actually learned in between my LPs of 2 and this is what each individual version of the condition means up there in the top. Green fine basically means you're from 75 to 100. Yellow caution means you're from 50 to 70, 50 to 75. Orange caution is 25 to 50, I believe, and danger is 25 or below. Now, one thing interesting about Raccoon City this time around, despite being in the very clearly supposed to be being in America, it's designed more so after a Japanese city, and the fact that the streets are very narrow. Also, on the right there, that very interesting looking door, that's the boutique. That's where, if you have the boutique key from beating the game the first time, you can switch your costume. Jill actually has a plethora of costumes in this game, particularly in the Dreamcast version, which obviously I can't do. I'm playing the PlayStation version. But I find that very interesting. Also, some extra green herbs up here if you need to. Starting off, inventory management is still a very important thing. In fact, I think it's more important here than it is in 2. But because Jill has lost those extra inventory slots that she had in 1. Also, one thing I gotta give Resident Evil 3 off the bat is that I think it actually has a much better horror atmosphere than 1 and 2 did, because most of the background music, when you're not in, like, important, stressful situations, or in a save room, is just the moaning of the zombies. And that's really eerie. Oh, gunshot. Hello? Who's there? You look familiar, sir. I'm gonna stab this zombie. Well, see you later then, dude. Knifing is actually very easy to do on some zombies this time around, because the zombies, when they're not running at you, I feel like they're almost slower this time around. Also, if you want to get the most out of your knife, stab downwards. It's how you get the fastest stabs. As with usual, at this point, whenever there's a pool of blood beneath the zombie, they are permanently dead. Otherwise, they're faking. However, there are some cases where the game likes to trick you like that by hiding their pool of blood underneath other things, or just by having the steady models there. Mostly towards endgame, though. Either way, I guess let's follow that person.
Get away!
Oh, hey! It's Brad from Resident Evil 1, the helicopter pilot that saved us. And the guy we got the special key from in 2. Sorry about that, buddy, but you were already dead at that point.
Brad, hang in there. Why isn't someone doing something about this?
I didn't know you were still alive, Jill. The police aren't trained for this kind of situation. What could they do? Listen, he's coming for us. We're both gonna die.
What are you saying?
You'll see. He's after STARS members. There's no escape.
Well, that's eerie. And here's the lighter. You know all these by now. We've had to use these in both the previous games. Combine it with the lighter fluid, though, just so you actually have a usable lighter. And now let's take a look at this. Clock tower postcard, a picture postcard of a clock tower. The following explanation is printed on the backside, a landmark spot, blah blah blah. As with previous Resident Evil games, there's files all over the place that either add to the backstory of what's going on around you, or just help you figure out some puzzles. I'm not going for all the files, in fact I don't think I've done that in any of the games so far. But there are a lot that you can find. In fact, Resident Evil 3 did something that I don't think either of the previous games did, in that you actually get an exclusive file for getting all of the files. Jill's diary, which details what she's been doing since Resident Evil 1. Also, in case you're wondering about the time placement of this game compared to Resident Evil 2, the first 2/3 roughly of the game take place about a day before Resident Evil 2, the last third after it. This rope seems soaked with oil. You know what that means? We have to burn it. However, zombies will knock down the barricade. That's not based off you inspecting the rope, that's time-based. And you might notice the very precariously placed red barrel here. We know what these mean by now in video games. It explodes if we make it go boom. And that is very lethal to dead things. In my experience, it's almost impossible to get every zombie with that because there's usually one rebel that doesn't want to try and follow me. But, yeah. Also, zombies will now all puke. That, if you might remember Resident Evil 1, only a certain variety of zombie could puke, but now everyone can. You're also going to see me making a lot of really dumb or stupid plays early on in the game. That's because I am not as experienced with Resident Evil 3 as I am 1 and 2. I'll go more into rough estimates towards the credits, but I've played this game less than 10 times, whereas I've played Resident Evil 1 and 2 over 10 times each. Also, there's red herbs here. As with previous games, these triple the effects of a green herb, and that's really good because that's basically, that and a green herb is basically a 100% health restore. Also, I should probably make a disclaimer. Like with Resident Evil 2, this game has in-game rankings. I think it's E through A in America, E through S in Japan. This is not an A rank run. I have never A ranked in this game. I don't think I ever will because it's kind of picky. Also, dogs are very susceptible to knives. Mostly because their stun animation's really good to get them with. Cerberuses are still fairly annoying in this game, but there aren't as many. Also, keep in mind this room for way later in the game. It's not worth killing a lot of enemies in this game, by the way, because at some point later on, usually a room will get new enemies placed into it. And ammo, as I mentioned before, is even more scarce in this game, though easy mode actually increases the amount of ammo you get from drops and boxes. By the way, if you actually look over there in the bookshelf that was behind us, we actually could see a yellow gunpowder. That's a gunpowder B. That's what you need to make shotgun shells, which I believe I'm actually going to do. However, you could make grenade rounds if you mix the two into a C. However, we don't have a grenade launcher yet, so that'd be a complete waste of ammo at this point. And also, as with previous games, it is faster for you to reload from the menu than it is from in-game. Though I think Jill has the fastest reload times in the classic Resident Evil games, because I actually very often forget to reload in the menu in this game, and she can reload pretty fast later on, especially. And unlike Resident Evil 2, I'm actually showing my inventory management this time around for the most part, because it can get kind of complicated due to the gunpowders. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 2 we'll be continuing on exploring Raccoon City and meeting a certain stalker in the process. See you guys then.